Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter from CARTERMATT.com.
This video is a discussion on Vikings Season 6, Episode 8, and I know this is a cause for tremendous excitement for you. We are discussing Vikings, finally, on the YouTube channel.
I've been wanting to talk about it for so long on the YouTube channel. This is my absolute most favorite show that is on the air. I will fight anybody on it. You can leave me in the comments if you think something else is better than Vikings, but I'll have a million reasons why. Vikings is the best show on the air right now. I am so excited to talk about this episode.
Here's the good news. If you're watching this video, you're probably a fan of Vikings as well. This is your congregation you are speaking to in this moment, so
we're all part of it together.
Yeah, so we will have some fun talking all about sort of things like Bjorn. Bjorn needs therapy. Like, that is the biggest thing that I can sort of summarize about Bjorn as a character.
Bjorn needs to not be married. That's what I've learned about Bjorn over the years. Just stop getting married to people. Just be with all these different women. Just stop.
Yeah.
You certainly don't need two wives, which we will talk about a little bit more coming up.
Bjorn needs therapy. Hvitserk needs like a map or something to get out of being lost in the forest or wherever it is that he is now. And, you know, ultimately, I think Ivar just needs a little bit of actual direction, but we'll talk about that before we do anything. If you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other updates.
Okay, so we're going to start out by talking about Bjorn, who has clearly been through a lot here. He's lost his mom, he's lost his son, he's lost his crown. He's pretty lost right now. Yeah. And so I'm not surprised that he's decided to jump into bed with somebody else, and we've seen him with this woman before. And it's so weird with Bjorn, because over the years, every time I see him with somebody, I'm like, okay, this is going to be the one. He's going to stop cheating around. This is going to be the one. And when I first saw him with Gunnhild, I thought for sure this was the one. So when this started to kick off with this other person, I started to get very upset with him because, and I don't know why, because I've been watching him all these years and I know how it rolls. I think I just want to see some sort of a happiness for him, and I want to see him stop making the same mistake that Ragnar made. I mean, we do see later on in this episode that his wife finally sees what's going on, that he's with this other person. And she's such an interesting character because she's very strong and she's very strong-willed, but she's also very much of the opinion of, we don't own other people. We are who we are. If you want to be with somebody, be with someone. If you don't want to be with somebody, don't be with them. Yeah. It's sort of a no ownership over each other, even though they're married. Yeah. So now we're in this weird situation where she's offering for this woman to become a wife and to come into their relationship because she doesn't want to leave Bjorn. She's pregnant with his kid. They have a relationship and she's not ready to give it up yet. So that brings us then sort of into this weird full circle moment with Bjorn, because we know that something very similar happened with Lagertha and Ragnar years back, where Aslog came over and he was like, hey, so what about two wives? And Lagertha was like, no, I'm not having that. And this was something that Bjorn felt very strongly against as well. He wanted his parents together. He didn't want Aslog there, and he left with Lagertha. And I think it's something that we've seen Ragnar regret over the years. He's always still, his love has been with Lagertha, and it never was really able to be reconciled until she passed away.
I think the question then is Bjorn going to regret this down the road in the same way that Ragnar did? I mean, it's not exactly like Gunnhild is like the first woman that he's done this to.
No, but it is the first time that he's being offered this same thing that Ragnar offered for Lagertha and for Aslog, and it was such a destructive relationship, and just that offer destroyed his entire life. So now that it's being offered to him by his wife, I just don't know why he would take it, because he clearly, it's not going to be the thing that's going to stop him from anything. Then he'll have Gunnhild, then he'll have this woman, and then he'll have another woman on the side. Like, this isn't the solution.
I think the problem is, I think Bjorn's just lost, and not lost in the same way that Hvitserk is currently lost in the woods, but rather...
and lost in his mind.
Yeah, I feel like he just doesn't really understand fully who he is, and I mean, it's a weird subtext for a show like Vikings to have, which is so much about just like a lot of just bravado and, you know, anger at times, but also still, you know, command. That if you're somebody like Bjorn, I think there's this expectation that, you know, you are meant to be this leader, this warrior, this person who others can sort of look towards.
Yeah, your father is Ragnar.
Yeah.
Your mother is Lagertha, the most famous shield maiden in the world. There is a lot of pressure that is on him with that. And it seems to be that his vice has been women over the years, and he just hasn't been able to find that.
It's weird to have conversations about Viking mental health, because I don't think you would sort of go into Vikings thinking that's going to be a subject, but it works with Bjorn, and it's, you know, I don't root for Bjorn to make these decisions.
No, and he's made me really frustrated over the years, because there have been women like Gunnhild, like Torvi, where I'm just like, oh man, what great women. Like, why are you messing around on these women? These are great, powerful, smart, loving women. This is so crazy that you're giving this up, like Ragnar gave up Lagertha, but we know that Ragnar did regret that until the end. And so the biggest thing I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen in this next episode is if he actually takes this offer or not, because we haven't really seen a lot of him and this other person. They've only really been in like a couple of scenes together. So is this somebody that we're going to see for the rest of the season turn into another wife? Or I don't know. I'm hoping that this is actually the thing that's going to turn it around for him in some ways.
I think it's the sort of thing where he'll open his eyes a little bit and be like, oh, this is starting to bring back parallels and issues from the past with Ragnar. Maybe this isn't a good idea. I mean, it's really, Bjorn's just in this position where, you know, sometimes people you like in life do bad things. And it's like, I'm very compelled by Bjorn as a character. He at times makes me want to pound my head against the wall.
Yeah.
But I want to believe, I don't know if he'll do the right thing, but I think he'll do a thing that is interesting. And if he chooses this, I'm going to do Viking sister wives, then I think we're going to be in a position where it ends very, very badly.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to stop. It's not going to stop anything.
No.
But then we also have to talk about his decision with Hvitserk, because I was pretty sure he was just going to kill him. That was just going to be the end of it. And then we saw him tied up and going up in flames, and then sort of the gods from the sky coming down. We saw for the first time Hvitserk has a smile on his face. Yeah. He's long been suffering with drinking and drugs and just this misery that Ivar put him through. And I think him just being lost in being one of Ragnar's sons that just couldn't find his way. Everybody's got something. Everybody has a bit of a legend behind them, and he just never did. And now it's like, oh, now his legend is that he killed Lagertha, and that's not necessarily the legend he wants behind him either.
Yeah.
So he's someone that feels like he's long wanted to die. And then here is Bjorn trying to get his revenge, but also giving Hvitserk what he wants. So to see him then let him go and be like, listen, this is going to be your punishment. You have to live a life of misery forever by yourself in the woods.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's going to last that long out there unless he's able to pull himself together.
Yeah, and that's a good question. Do you think that we're going to really see that much of Hvitserk moving forward? Is somebody just going to find his body in an upcoming episode and be like, well, that's the end of that?
Well, that's the thing, is I don't know if there's any more story to tell. Like, his purpose at this point was to kill Lagertha. The seer had always said that one of Ragnar's sons was going to kill her. And he did. And if that was his prophecy and that was what he was supposed to be part of that prophecy, now what else is there for him? You kind of go back and look at his story in the history books, and there really isn't a lot about him. He really kind of was the son that was just forgotten. Yeah, that just doesn't have the legends behind him or the stories behind him like Ivar or like Bjorn.
Does it make me terrible that if Hvitserk is gonna die, you killed Lagertha, I feel like you should have like the most epic death possible on Vikings. Like that should be your punishment so that we can all sort of take some element of just like shock and awe at what happens to you, rather than just, okay, here you're gonna wander around in the forest forever.
Well, yeah, and I'm kind of back and forth on it because I feel like, yeah, I'm like, okay, you killed Lagertha, and I'm pretty pissed off about that. Yeah, Lagertha killed your mom, and I get that there is sort of a revenge for revenge kind of feel to it. But I never liked Aslaug in the first place. She came and wrecked everybody's marriage. Well, Ragnar also wrecked his own marriage, but just the same. So, but Lagertha, I mean, she was such just an inspiration to a lot of people on the show with other characters, but also people watching the show. So yeah, everybody's mad at Hvitserk, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens to him, because I feel like the idea that he's just going to be lost in the woods forever being miserable is a fitting punishment. Seeing him look up and see sort of the gods coming to get him, there was a moment that I actually felt like, oh, this is a really easy way out. He's kind of getting what he wants. This isn't going right.
Well, I guess we'll see about Hvitserk if we see him again.
We'll see him again. I just don't know.
I would like to think so, but let's transition over to Ivar for a moment, because like you and I we both love Alex as an actor.
Yeah, we got to speak to him at the beginning of the season. We'll link our interview that we did at the website to down in the description below, so you can see what he said to us. He's a really interesting guy to talk to, because he's so terrible on the show, but he is the nicest person. So when we get to talk to him, he's so polite and he's so thankful, and he's a really cool guy.
Ivar is just the worst a lot of the time, and it was sort of like, oh, here's Prince Oleg. Actually, breaking news, Prince Oleg may actually be the worst. They're in competition with one another on this.
Yeah, this whole story, when it first kicked off, I was really excited about, because Prince Oleg is really bad. He's a bad guy, and Ivar's a bad guy, and it was very cool to see this character come in, and the actor is really great. He's just plays this character so crazy. So for the first couple episodes, I was really into this, because it felt like this relationship was very symbiotic and was going to build into something quite crazy, that we may actually have another big Ivar win where he's able to take things back. And since then, it's changed quite a bit. We've seen Oleg be a little more like, you'll kind of be the king, sort of, you'll be in name only kind of thing, and you'll be just the person who does my bidding for me. And we've seen Ivar now trying to pull some strings and do some different things to try to work things in a different direction. But I'm starting to feel like this story is stalling out for me. It needs to start moving forward. We don't have a lot of this show left. And having him sort of all the way over here doing this other thing, it almost feels like last season when we had Floki over in Iceland, and that's a character that I have loved forever, but once they moved him over there, he just felt so disjointed from everything that I started to become a little less interested in what was going on over there, as much as I love Floki, and that's starting to happen a little bit going on with Ivar. I will say this though, that it's been a little cool to see some changes in Ivar, and I don't know if it's just because of him killing his wife, him losing Kattegat, him losing his son or murdering his son, all these things that have happened to him. And now he's this sort of stranger in a strange land and all that. He seems to be having he's still who he is, but he seems to be having a little bit more self-reflection on maybe where he wants to go.
Yeah, I wonder, just being around someone who is as bad, if not worse at times, maybe it's like, oh, that's who I am sometimes. Maybe I don't want to be like that all of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's certainly possible, but yeah, there's not a lot left in like this first half of the season, so I hope they sort of ramp things up for him. I'm sure they will. If nothing else, I'm sure they'll give us like some sort of Ivar tease as to where his story is going to be going as we get to the end of the show.
Yeah, because eventually I'd like to see him sort of reconnect with some other people, and it feels like his crew might be running into Harold Finehair at some point. I mean, he's now the King of Norway and everything that's going on with him. And, well, we'll see if it all kind of starts to connect. I would like to see it connect. He needs to be brought back into the fold.
Well, we've got some exciting stuff ahead on Vikings, clearly. But we have to know from you guys.
Is Vikings the best show on TV? It's true.
Well, if you agree, let her know in the comments. And also, what you thought about this episode, and what do you think Bjorn is going to do? And if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us more by checking the link in the description to the CARTERMATT store. And we'll see you here next time.